for my money, Dave McClure is doing more to bridge Silicon Valley and China single-handedly than anybody else on planet Earth, in addition to all the other stuff he's doing. It's just absolutely amazing. I don't know how he even keeps track of all of his different startups, but he has a wide and deep network and is working to reinvent the space, and it's pretty inspirational. Wow, so I am going to bring up our next speaker. We have 4 more left for the rest of the day, and I will be interviewing all of them. Our next speaker is somebody that I knew way back in the dot-com boom days in the late 90s in Hong Kong, and he's now back here in the Middle Kingdom. He is the CEO of a very cool company called Xfire. Please put your hands together. Give me some juice for Malcolm Cassell, everybody. Come on. Here we go. There's your weapon. I'll sit over here. We'll switch it up. It doesn't even matter. So, excellent. So, Malcolm and I, as I mentioned, first met way back in the dot-com boom days, and is now has had a hell of a story, a hell of a ride since then. Why don't you give the audience here and at home watching us in their underwear a little bit of the Malcolm story, your kind of path to China.
Yeah, sure. I got to China visiting. I got to Asia first. Went to Japan. The funny story about that is my mother thought it was part of China, so I think she still does. But anyway, but it's funny. I got to Japan a little too late. You know, the boom was kind of like dying in the late '80s, and I suddenly realized, like, oops, better study Chinese. So, came over after my first startup, and met you in Hong Kong. Did PCCW there, which was a pretty exciting story, pretty exciting exit.
It was already a gigantic play. You started, with Richard Lee Cushing's.
Well, actually, we started on a napkin at the Stanford Park Hotel, and it was literally like this internet thing is happening. We have these satellite slots in the sky. Our non-compete with News Corp is about to end. What should we do? I mean, it was literally that open, and it ended up being, what is now PCCW. So it was a very, very, there's a whole book in there.
Very good ending, yes.
Yeah. So, so then after that, did a bunch of investing. I think like a lot of people after your sort of first success, you want to kind of dabble in, do it again, but on a smaller scale until, things build up. Most overnight successes are like 10 years old, right? So got involved in a bunch of investing, and then started doing startups at different levels, either as one of the founders or just advising and so forth. And then came back to China, did a couple more deals, and then the beginning of last year came back and was helping run operations for the joint venture with Tencent and Groupon. So got a chance to really get into operations and sales and ground level hand-to-hand combat in China.
Very, very rough hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, rough hand-to-hand combat.
Guangzhou space here in China.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then stayed through to the IPO.
Yeah, got to the IPO, and that was pretty much the purpose, was like to build up this venture, that they could have at exit.
Get the lift off.
Get the lift off. Yeah, and so then came over to run Xfire. Which is an interesting story. It's a restart, which it's kind of like my goal is to build it into the company that gets sold again for several $100 million.
So Xfire, just a quick background, started by one of my favorite entrepreneurs in the world. Never met him. Spoke to him on the phone. A guy named Mike Cassidy, who just sold his 4th company to Google. And basically, it's sort of in-game chat for PC gamers across different games. They sold it. Company successfully to Viacom after less than a couple of years for about 110 million, and then, as unfortunately happens with large companies, perhaps take their eye off the ball, distracted with other things. The asset continued to grow, but they wanted to basically divest of it. So you guys took it over, and now you have a whole new vision. So altogether, how many users?
So yeah, about 21 million registered now.
Nice neighborhood.
About 5.5 million monthly actives. So a good, very loyal base. They're generating millions of videos, tens of millions of minutes of streamed content. They're sending billions of
so
instant
tell us about these videos.
messages.
So the initial idea was I'm chatting. I can chat with anybody in different games and in different IM platforms because I have full screen on the game and I'm listening to all this gameplay. I can't even see an instant message because I'd have to hit Alt Tab and go back into. So you guys enabled people to basically have a window to the rest of the world outside of that game. And now the next layer is this sort of media sharing you were just talking about. Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, Xfire has become this like social platform that was like Frankenstein in a way. It just sort of took on a life of its own, and the guys kept adding features because they were hardcore gamers themselves that they felt like gamers really wanted. So eventually, they built this platform that kind of did everything that a hardcore gamer wants. It doesn't make any sense to a casual gamer. I mean, casual gamers don't get it. Like outside China, they'd be like, I'm happy with Facebook, I'm happy with Skype, I'm happy with YouTube. But if you're a hardcore gamer, you want a piece of all those features, but you want it available to you while you're in the game. And that's sort of what Xfire does. So with like one hotkey, you're chatting with your friends, whether they're on Facebook, Gtalk, MSN, or Xfire. With one hotkey, you're recording video, you're streaming video, you're screen capturing.
Watch me kick this demon's ass in
exactly,
real time.
Exactly.
Or here's a highlight reel of stuff that I've done before.
Exactly.
Wow, that's
so it's
pretty
powerful.
badass. Wow.
It's really powerful. And so really the opportunity was to take this asset and turn on the right monetization opportunities and grow it. So up until this year, you could not use it in Chinese, you couldn't use it in Korean, you couldn't use it in Japanese. So the Asian language piece was very hard because we actually tunnel into the game. We don't get permission from any game company, but we integrate with 2,300
it's like the
games.
Matrix or something like that.
Yeah, we are. We're like the agents, like with nobody. The game actually doesn't even know that we're there, like because we hack into the DirectX layer. So it's hard to do. A lot of companies have tried and failed. But that core tech allows us to enable gamers across, a bunch of different places.
So to be this sort of agnostic, all-pervasive sort of platform across many different games. Right now, it's very PC gaming focused, but then now you're going to be focusing more on other platforms. It seems in the future. So cross geography, cross.
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity because Xfire missed the console wave and it missed the social gaming wave while it was sort of under Viacom's tutelage. The guys were just staying, deep in the trenches and more features around PC
optimizing
gaming.
what they kind of already had.
Yeah. But by the same token, the market kept, changing, as you know, right? So my vision for the company is to not only expand geography, but also expand platforms. So I believe, the tablet is the new console. And we'll take a huge piece of that market. And we already integrate with the engines like Unity and Unreal and so forth. So we can be a player on those platforms. Same thing in smart TV. Same thing in the right kinds of mobile devices. So hardcore gamers are going in lots of different places, and so our goal is to follow them, or maybe lead them to some degree in these places. But that was an opportunity I feel is latent, and we want to take advantage of it in the company.
The tablet is the new console. Somebody has to tweet or send that out by Weibo. That's a nice little nugget. I like that. So you're going to continue a focus on the hardcore. Hardcore game.
Yeah. We're not going to go and focus on Farmville players. My mother will still never understand what I do or what this company does. She's
my mother will still think that the TV remote control can set the curtains on fire.
Yeah. Be careful.
So I guess we're even in that regard.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. So where do you see the sort of the ecosystem, the industry, the marketplace, and how you sort of fit into that and where it's going?
Yeah. So I mean, right now in the gaming world, you're pretty much either a developer or a publisher. Like those are kind of the two big roles. There's the people who operate around that, but generally we're like the only pure ecosystem play, because we just connect gamers agnostic of the game they're playing and try and make their lives better as a gamer, and that includes, of course, persistent identity. Because you play this game for this year and another game next year, but you sort of have this badge of honor, like, hey, I put in 1,000 hours on World of Warcraft. right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's a
right.
gigantic
So
status online.
it's a status, and it's part of your identity. It's like just like on your Weibo, it's like I did this, I went here, I met this person. Here's a picture of me with so and so. That's part of your virtual identity, and for us, we feel like helping gamers preserve those identities, share those identities is key to this ecosystem, and nobody is doing that across all platforms. So we feel that that's a really important thing to do, and that's I think why we have success globally so far.
Interesting. Wow, that's a terrific space to be in. I think across all platforms, for me, I believe that the best business model that has ever existed and ever will exist is the whole virtual items business model, where 97% gross margin, you're basically selling ones and zeros flipping, right? And it's pretty exciting. It's pretty magical, and people have a strong identity. They either get status or utility, or maybe something perhaps entertainment out of it, right? So where do you guys fit sort of in that? Where do you see the whole virtual items?
So our goal is to facilitate different aspects of the business, and our revenue model so far has been basically the advertising side and helping some game companies find new gamers, right? Because obviously we have all the data. Diablo 3 just launched. We know everything about which games went down, which games went up, how the ecosystem changed, and where it's going.
You must know more about Diablo 3 than except the developer, right?
Yeah. We got called by a lot of the press, and we shared with them what's going on, so they understand better with that whole ecosystem. But for us, we want to protect gamers. We really have a viewpoint that it's about taking care of them, right? And we want to provide services that make gaming more fun and enhance any of their pain points. So we have some innovative things we'll be coming out with this year and next year that will target exactly those 2 points.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Excellent. Wow, I think that's there's been examples in the past where a company has been sort of taken by a larger company and then grown out in some aspects, but maybe sort of atrophied in other aspects, and then maybe they then put it back out into the wild, so to speak, right. And then it has these sort of outsized muscles that it can kind of use, and maybe it's sort of sink or swim. But I think with Malcolm Cassell at the helm, I'm actually looking forward to
we'll see what happens.
The next
we'll see what happens.
Big liquidity events.
So. We're looking for building a lot of value. That's really the key right now. It's just making, if users are still telling us we're doing a good job, because they're voting every day with their time, right? It's just like any social network. You can tell in real time how good a job you're doing.
I imagine they're pretty especially vociferous.
Especially vocal, yeah. When they don't like something, they tell you right away in not too many words. And when they love it, they love it. I mean, it's extraordinary. Our audience will turn on a dime.
They're passionate, yes.
They're extremely passionate. So it's a good thing and double-edged sword.
Terrific. Excellent. How about a big round warm of applause for Malcolm Cassell, everybody. Thanks, Malcolm. Great to see you again. Best of luck with that. That's great.